Welcome to Hare Krishna Law. This is our session regarding the Epidemic Diseases Amendment Ordinance 2020. Here we will talk about the penal provisions only, and the other parts regarding explanations, definitions and each and everything will be discussed later on, as everybody is interested in what are the penal provisions against the wrongdoers. So let's start. Section 3 Clause 1 of the Epidemic Diseases Act 1897 says, if any person disobeys the law promulgated by the state government regarding the prevention of and spread of the epidemic disease, he will be prosecuted for a period. He will be prosecuted and penalized, and an FIR will be filed against him under Section 188 IPC. The offence is cognizable and bailable. Now, here the thing is, the person doing wrong is not obeying the guidelines as given in Arogya Setu app or any guidelines for the prevention or for preventing the spread of COVID-19. So 3 clause 2, what it says? It is for the safety of medical health care service personnel. Medical health care service personnel and their property need to be saved, and for this the state government and the central government introduced Section 3 subclause 2 and Section 3 subclause 3. Section 3 subclause 2 says, if anybody commits or abets, mean to say if he himself commits or he abets somebody, he give somebody instigation or some influence somebody to commit act against the medical health care service personnel. So in that scenario, if somebody is abetting somebody, or if somebody is saying ki you go and commit this offence against the medical health care personnel, service personnel, so he will be also prosecuted therein. He cannot take the plea that I was not there, or I was much behind and I was not throwing bricks on everything. If somebody behind the back is abetting the offence, he is also treated as offender under this act, and he will be punished as similar as the wrongdoer himself. So if a minor is abetted by a major person, the major person will be prosecuted as per the provisions of this act, and the minor will be sent to juvenile justice observation home. So even the abetter are not left behind. So if any person who is saying that by abatement he will go off, no, this is not the case. Now let's say what are the other things. First, harm, injury, act of violence against the medical health care personnel. What is act of violence? Act of violence means harassment, harm, injury, or any sort of thing which is hinders or obstructs the medical health care service personnel in discharging his duties for the prevention of COVID-19. Second thing, if any person creates or causes the loss or damage of medical establishment, then also he will be prosecuted under Section 3 subclause 2. Medical establishment means quarantine center, isolation center, all these things are covered under medical establishment. Now let's discuss 3 subclause 3. 3 subclause 3 says, if any grievous hurt caused to a medical health care service professional, in that scenario the person will be prosecuted for 7 years, and the fine, the imprisonment will not be less than 6 months in this scenario. So in 3 subclause 2 the minimum imprisonment is 3 months, but here the minimum imprisonment is 6 months. In 3 subclause 2 the maximum imprisonment is 5 years. Here the maximum imprisonment is 7 years. Section 3 subclause 2 is bailable, is non-bailable but compoundable. Mean to say two person can mutually come to an agreement. The medical health care service personnel or the state government who has suffered the loss can come and mediate with the person, the wrongdoer, and yes, under Section 3 subclause 2 they both can sit and mediate the matter, and in this scenario the person can compound the matter and will got discharged from the offense. But if the wrongdoer has committed grievous hurt or caused grievous hurt to the medical healthcare service personnel, in that situation no compounding of offences, no provision is there regarding compounding of offences. Now let's come to the investigation part. How the case will be investigated? The person investigating the case is not going to be below the rank of inspector. So an inspector or SHO is going to investigate this case under section 3 subclause 2 and under section 3 subclause 3. He is supposed to file the charge sheet within a month time, and the complete case will be concluded by the learned judge within, or learned magistrate or judicial magistrate, within a time span of 1 year. In case if the learned magistrate or the judicial magistrate fails to deliver the judgment, furthermore he will get a time of 6 months more. So only 6 months more time can be extended in this situation, this scenario. Section 3 subclause 3 talks about grievous hurt caused to the medical healthcare service personnel. Now what do we understand by grievous hurt? Grievous hurt is defined in the provisions of 320 IPC, which talks about how and in what circumstances grievous hurt is caused to a person and whether the injury will be treated as grievous hurt or not. So there are 8 conditions under which grievous hurt will be caused. First of all, permanent privation of any of eye or both of the eyes. Permanent privation of ear, mean to say the ear won't be able to hear again, that is permanently it will not be able to hear anything. The eyes permanently will not be able to see anything. Destruction of head, defacement of head permanently. Fracture in bone, fracture in any joint or member. Any condition, any medical condition created by any injury caused by the wrongdoer which makes the person lie in bed or admitted in hospital for 20 days in ICU, then also it's a grievous hurt. So there are 8 conditions. Disfiguration of joints, members, destruction, or the person won't be able to rework that limb due to grievous hurt caused to that particular limb. So these are the 8 parts. I try to simplify them, but I know I am not a medical professional. So you can go and see in 320 IPC there are 8 conditions. Read them properly. And here one thing is I need to mention is it says permanent privation, mean to say if the person got recovered, so he will not be prosecuted under section 3 subclause 3. Mean to say if he got recovered one of his one eye got injured, and at initial stage it looked like that his eye got permanently privated, but later on he got recovered and he is able to see, not completely but partially. So yes, this is not permanent privation of the eye. For permanent privation, mean to say the limb stopped working properly and permanently and completely. What are the other things that court will presume? Court will presume that the person offender has committed the crime and he himself has committed the crime. Court will further presume that the person committing the crime was having a culpable mental state that time. That means that he intended to commit that crime. He has all the motives to commit that crime. What other things court is going to presume against the offender. Court will presume that the offender has committed the offence knowingly and he himself has committed the offence and nobody is behind it. Second thing, the accused was having culpable mental state. Mean to say, he was having intention to commit the crime, he was having knowledge to commit the crime, and what are the consequences thereafter after committing the said act. He was also having the motive of that crime, to commit that crime. So all these three things included: intention, motive and knowledge. One thing that is quite noticeable here is that this presumption is rebuttable. Whatever presumptions are there, all these presumptions are rebuttable. Mean to say, the advocate of accused can take pleas or by cross-examine, he can rebut some facts. It's not a violent presumption or conclusive proof against the accused person. So, the prosecution has to prove its case beyond reasonable doubt. It's just that there is a presumption, but it doesn't relieve the prosecution from Section 101 Evidence Act. Now let's jump to the next video where we will talk about the Disaster Management Act. The Disaster Management Act also deals with the situations created in the epidemic of COVID-19 and other provisions enshrined in this act and explanations and definitions of the Epidemic Disease Ordinance Act. Thank you. Hare Krishna.